All right, it's already 3 p.m. So I guess we can begin. So hello everyone, welcome to our webinar, Malaysia Budget 2021, the benefits and impact for businesses in the era of digitalization. My name is Ivan from Just Login. So before we begin, I'd like to go through some housekeeping notes. Can I have the next slide? Okay. All right, thank you. So first off, today's webinar is being recorded. We will email a link to all registrants, the recording link to all registrants latest by tomorrow. We invite your questions, but please type them all in the Q&A tab located in the menu at the bottom of the screen so we can manage them more efficiently. And also at the end, we will be launching a short feedback form at the end of the webinar. So please help us by providing feedback. If you want a copy of the slides of today's webinar, please indicate in the feedback form and we will send them to you. So with that, let's begin. First off, I'd like to wish everybody an early Merry Christmas. We are almost to the end of 2020. I think we can all agree that the past year has certainly been a roller coaster ride. However, there is plenty to look forward to for the next year. The most optimistic of which is that a COVID vaccine has already been discovered. So things can only get better from here. But even as we return to some form of normality, there's no denying that 2020 has fundamentally changed the way people live their lives and how businesses should operate. In part, the announcements made in a recent Budget 2021 have primarily been to boost digitalization in the SME sector, to help economic recovery and to spur growth. So today we have our own Patricia Balakrishnan, Business Development Manager from Just Login, to explain more on the changes announced in the budget and how businesses can adapt to the changes. So Patricia, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Ivan. Good afternoon, everybody. So my name is Patricia. I'm with Just Login. So before we go into the detail of Budget 2021, so this year, when the government actually announced the Budget 2021, the total value of the budget is 322.5 billion. So it has been the largest budget in Malaysia history. All right, so it's significantly going to impact in a lot of aspects, but especially in HR matters. So today I'll be sharing with you all the changes that the government has announced and whatever items that are going to affect your next year's payroll processes, tax calculation and all that. So the government also expects the economy to grow between 6.5 and 7.5% in year 2021. So their main picture, or the big picture the government is looking at, is the recovery via digitalization. So we know that the recent lockdown has increased the use of technology. So I'm pretty sure all of us here have some sort of adapted to some sort of technology in the past 6 to 7 months. We have changed our meetings, on-site meetings, to virtual meetings. We have changed our salary payout, the way that we do calculation and everything. All right. So this is actually one of the bigger way that the government is expecting for the economy to grow. All right. So one of the main changes that has happened is EPF contribution. Okay, so the government has actually announced that they're going to reduce employee EPF contribution from 11% to 9% beginning of January 2021 for a period of 12 months. Okay, but employees can also opt to remain at 11% by filling up the KWSP 17A. So it's Borang Khas 2021. Okay, so as the HR personnel, you all are responsible to actually identify which of the employees they would prefer to maintain at 11%, get this form filled up and submit it to KWSP. All right, so a lot of companies, they are not aware of this, and then what they do is they just remain at 11%, or they just don't do any changes and remain at 7% or 9%. All right, so if any of the employees, they actually found out about this news and they prefer to remain at 11%, they can actually make a report to EPF or KWSP saying that they were not guided properly by the company. So this is something that you have to take into consideration before you just simply change it, so that get the approval from the employee saying that, okay, you want to remain at 9%, that is fine. But if you would like to change to 11%, remain at 11%, then please fill up this form. Okay, so this is something that you can start submitting already. So from yesterday onwards. And the second changes that the government has announced is Human Resource Development Fund, so HRDF. So we know that not all the companies are contributing to HRDF. So there are certain companies that have to contribute to HRDF. So very commonly will be tourism sector. So due to the impact of COVID-19, tourism sector and some of the companies, they are actually affected by this crisis. So what HRDF has announced, the government has announced, is they will be given a leeway to be exempted from contributing for 6 months from 1st January 2021 onwards. All right, it's only for 6 months. So January until June, July onwards, if you're contributing HRDF, it's back to normal, unless there's another announcement saying that, okay, you get another 6 months or 3 months. All right, so this is for HRDF fund. And tax rates. Okay, so there's also some changes in tax rate. So tax rates for the income band, that's a lot. So that's like 20,000 to 30,000, 30,000 to 40,000 and all that. But it only affect one category, which will be those whose yearly income is within 50,000 ringgit to 70,000. So the current tax rate for this category of people is 14%. So the government has actually announced that they want to reduce for this group of people, from 14% to 13%. All right, because these are the majority, a lot of employees, they're actually within this rate, this band. So that's why the government has announced that only this band is going to be affected. So anybody who's earning 70,001 ringgit, they won't be eligible for this. So you have to stick with whatever calculation that we are doing so far. Okay. And then the second tax rate will be for non-citizen individuals. Okay, so will be a special income tax flat rate. Okay, it's going to be 15% for the next 5 years from 2021 onwards for non-citizen individuals who is holding key position. So key position, CEO, COO, okay, all those key position, okay, and only for those companies that's relocating their operation to Malaysia. Okay, so if your company is already here in Malaysia, then not really into relocating new businesses into Malaysia, then this is not for those non-citizen individuals. This is for non-citizen individuals. Maybe now they already have businesses in Indonesia, Singapore, and they are looking into re-migrating or relocating the operation to Malaysia. And then they want to hire non-citizen individuals, whoever that's already based in Singapore or Indonesia, they want to bring them into Malaysia. So instead of paying the usual amount, the tax rate, now they have actually reduced to 15% for the next 5 years. All right. Okay, so tax deduction. So there's a number of changes on the tax deduction. Okay, so the first one will be tax relief for medical expenses. So this actually can be for yourself, for your spouse, or for your children, for serious diseases. So for the last year, it was 6,000 ringgit. But then for this year, what they have done is they have increased from 6,000 to 8,000 ringgit Malaysia. Okay, and tax relief for expenses of medical checkup. Okay, so medical checkup is like all those, not the one that a lot of times people confuse with medical checkup, or they go and see doctor, they are not well, they see doctor and they get a receipt, right? So not for that. This one, the employee have to actually do a full medical checkup, like they take blood, they take chest x-ray, ECG and all that packages. So instead of 500, now they have actually increased to 1,000. So how this category works is, if just say the employee has claimed 1,000 ringgit for medical checkup, and for their serious disease from 8,000, it will actually reduce to 7,000. So this 8,000 ringgit is for both categories, for serious disease and also medical checkup. All right, so this is one of it. And the second one, the medical treatment expenses, they also have expanded to cover vaccination expenses for taxpayers, for their spouse and for their child, to an annual limit of 1,000. Okay, so for now, the vaccine is very broad. So they have not yet give a breakdown of what sort of vaccine, but it most probably going to be a COVID vaccine. All right, so they are actually expecting expenses relief for up to 1,000 ringgit. Okay, so that is for expenses for vaccination and also for serious disease and medical checkup. And then tax relief on expenses for medical treatment, special need, and also parental care has increased from 5,000 to 8,000 ringgit. Okay, so this 8,000, it has to be divided equally among the siblings that's also a taxpayers. All right. So, but they have TNC. Parents, they are not supposed to be earning more than 25,000 on annual income. Then only they are eligible for this particular tax relief. Okay. And the fourth one will be individual income tax relief on private retirement scheme. Also, they have extended the 3,000 tax relief up to year 2025. Okay. So previously it was only up to year 2020. Okay, so they have increased to year 2025. So this is only for individuals that's contributing to a private retirement scheme. Okay, and the next one, so scope of relief for tuition fee has expanded to cover for them to attend any sort of courses to upskill their skills. So one of very famous course that the government is pushing through is digitalization courses, IR 4.0. Okay, so they're gonna allow the employees, especially employees, those who are already working in the companies, okay, they want to go and take up certain upskill courses, okay, they will get a tax relief up to 1,000 ringgit. So this is for the entire year. So if the course costs them more than 1,000 ringgit or 2,000 or 3,000, the tax relief is only for 1,000 ringgit. All right. And then the next one, additional tax relief for disabled spouse. So they have increased from 3,500 to 5,000 ringgit. So this is to reduce some of the burden of the employees who have a disabled spouse. So this also go into payroll. Okay, so when you're doing a payroll calculation, if the spouse is married and if the employee is married, their spouse is not working and a disabled person, so there will be a PCB calculation that's involved if they reach the threshold. So previously, you will be putting in 3,005 to do the calculation. Now you have to put in 5,000 ringgit to do the calculation. All right, but take note that this is only for the next year. So if there's any changes, we will update you again, of course. All right, and then lifestyle tax relief has increased from 2,500 to 3,000 ringgit. So this is for any purchase of items. It can be any sort of items like a laptop, desktop, handphones, or even like gym membership. Okay, anything that's related to your lifestyle have also increased from 2,005 to 3,000. Okay, and the last one will be tax relief for SSPN. It has been 8,000 since last year. Since last year. Okay, so what the government has announced is they're going to extend this particular tax relief of 8,000 to the assessment year of 2022. Okay, so there's no changes, it's just an extended assessment year. All right. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about how you can digitalize your business processes. Okay, so let me share a bit about how Just Login do it. Okay, so what is our focus here? So our focus is to building a top-class HR software. Okay, so what our team has done, our team behind the scene, what they have done is they have spent a lot of effort to build and to also polish an application. So whatever their hard work has actually translated into this award-winning HR software. So we have got some gold awards in Best HR Management System and also Best Payroll Software System. Okay, so you can be rest assured that the system that we will be providing to you is actually a top-notch system that we follow all the rules and regulation, and we will provide the best solution to your company. Okay, so just a very quick introduction. Just Login, we have over 2,000 customers. Okay, so we have, these are some of our portfolio client base from across all industry. So we actually help businesses from the range of 1 to 1,000 employees. So it doesn't matter how small or how big the company. Our portfolio, we have all these names there, and we also have a lot of SMEs companies there. So we cater our system whereby it can actually fit all the needs of all kind of shapes and sizes of the company. All right. Okay, so what are the main message that we are actually looking into bringing across? Okay, so you can see there's actually three workforce message that we are looking into bringing across. So the first one is, okay, so with the COVID situation, right? So it looks like things are going back to normal. So I'm pretty sure most of you are from Malaysia. Okay, so we know that the numbers are going up crazily on a daily basis. Okay, there's like 1,000 over cases, 2,000 over cases. So how soon can it be normal for us? Okay, is it like, okay, tomorrow when we get the vaccine, everybody is going to go back to office as per usual? Or is it going to be like everybody is going to try to adopt to new norm? Okay, so that is a big question mark out there for the companies. Can they make people come back to work, or they have to actually try to work around with all these new norms that already people are starting to adopt, even for just logging, we are starting to adapt to the new norm. Okay, so the one thing that we actually want to look at is okay, so the workforce has been very dispersed at the moment. Okay, so remote team has become a new normal. So as a study by PwC, 55% of the companies globally offer some capacity for remote work. So the new norm is remote team work at the moment. Okay, but at the same time, we also have a lot of gig workers. Okay, so this COVID situation have actually, in a way, forced a lot of companies to take up shift workers, to take up part-time workers. Okay, so as a HR personnel, how are you going to manage the expectation? How are you going to handle different pay cycle? How are you going to handle different calculation, different OT amounts, Okay, so how are you going to handle that? So that is another big question mark, how companies are going to handle that. And the third one is dealing with tech-savvy workforce, the millennials. Okay, so during the COVID-19 period, a lot of companies noticed that the millennials are coping much more easier with the COVID-19 working from home virtual meeting situation compared to the other generations. Why? Because they are so comfortable with gadgets. Okay, so studies show that in another few years, 50% of your workforce is going to be millennials. So are you ready to actually move your practice across like how you can actually handle these millennials? Okay, so these are the message that we are trying to actually share with all of you. Okay, so when all this is in place, they definitely will have issues. So what are the common, we have actually narrowed it down to 4 common problems that the SME will face. Okay, the first one is poor workforce visibility. So with all your teams are dispersed around, okay, work from home, from different state, from different, some of them are working from different country. Okay, how are you actually managing all these employees? They're all around the world, or the country. Our country is so big. Okay, there's so many states. Okay, so how is the HR personnel managing it? Okay, so there is a poor workforce visibility, and when there is a poor workforce visibility, too much work for admin, the workload just pile up, especially for you guys. Okay, so that is another issue there. And the third one, compliance risk. Okay, let me tell you, Malaysia's compliance is so complicated compared to our neighbor countries, Singapore, Myanmar, Hong Kong. Okay, it is so complicated. So the risk of us getting fined or doing a very simple mistake is there. Okay, because we are not only contributing to one, we're contributing to 4 different platform minimum: EPF, SOXO, EIS, PCB, and some companies even HRDF. All right, so there's like 4 or 5 calculation that you yourself as a HR, you have to actually know or make sure that you're doing the right thing, because at the end of the day, you're responsible for it. Okay, and the fourth one is poor employee experience. Okay, so for poor employee experience is like, how we look at it is nowadays, a lot of time, a lot of time when the employees, they are very unsatisfied with the company, what they do, they post in social media. Very common, yeah. Okay, so the moment they post in social media, it just lit up like a fire. Okay, so this will actually tarnish the company's name. Okay, so we have to be very careful when it comes to poor employee experience, especially when, recently due to COVID-19, a lot of companies had to lay off workers. It's not that they want to let them go, but the company really can't manage anymore. Okay, but then sometimes it translated into a different way to the employee. Oh, my company just laid me off, and then they start bashing the company in social media. Okay, so this all actually relate to poor employee experience. Okay, so let me just go into a little bit more in depth. Okay, so poor workforce visibility. So a source by E&Y actually confirmed that 88% of the workforce do not want to return to office full time. Yeah, it's quite people quite taken aback with this particular study, because 88% is almost 90% of the workforce do not want to return to office. So a lot of times what happen is, if just say that the employee really so comfortable to work from home, they think that they are more productive to work from home, and company just not giving the way, they don't mind actually jump over to another company with the same benefit, just extra benefit of working from home. That's about it. So when the world is changing in this way, the company also need to reinforce, or you need to actually start to think about what if this is the future is going to be. Okay, so you need all those platforms for you to have real-time view for your workforce that you can access from anywhere. Even as a HR, if you're working from home, you can also access it from home. Okay, so that is one thing that you have to start looking into it for workforce visibility. And the second one, this is very common. Okay, too much work for HR. Okay, so according to the study of West Monterey, 59% of HR managers spend half of their day or more, okay, carrying out admin tasks that can be automated. Okay, so just a very quick question. I know you can't answer me. Okay, you can just put in the chat. How many of you are still doing manual processes? Paying EPF manually, paying SOXO manually, doing manual calculation for PCB. Okay, I'm pretty sure a number of you, a handful of you are still doing. Okay, but these are the things that you can actually automate it. Okay, so instead of spending half of your day or more than half of your day doing all these manual processes, you can actually focus this time doing on things that really matters. Okay, how to increase productivity of your employees, how to create a more joyful and happy environment. That is HR is all about. Okay, instead of just put your head down and start doing all this paperwork. Okay, so that is one. Okay, and then the third one, compliant risk. Okay, so we just put up one here, KWSP. Okay, but then there's more, as I mentioned earlier. So you as a HR, you need to keep up with all the new regulation. Okay, so I won't be surprised next year, halfway down the road, the government might announce saying that, okay, now no more 9%, let's go back to 11%. All right, it happened last year. Okay, so it's not a surprise for us anymore. But the thing is, you as a HR, you need to keep up with all this regulation and compliance just to make sure you don't do any wrong calculation, because their fine involve money. Okay, so as you can see here for EPF, it's 20,000, not more than 20,000. So the maximum is 20,000. Okay, so you need to check for all the accuracy in computing EPF contributions, SOXO, EIS, PCB, and all that. Okay, so the risk is always there. Okay, and the fourth one, unhappy workforce. Okay, so when there's an unhappy workforce, there's a decrease in productivity and performance. Okay, so a lot of time there will be a sort of negative vibe in the company, which will it's like a virus, right? It just spread across other employees. They're actually very happy, but then because they're hearing all these negative vibes, they might be not happy for their colleague. Okay, so it happens in a working environment. Okay, so that is another thing that company have to really look into it. Poor employee experience, because happy workforce will be very productive. All right. Okay, so let me just share quickly with you about our vision. Okay, so our vision will be a mobile-enabled employee-first approach. Okay, you might think that it's a little bit different. Okay, a lot of times company might say, oh, okay, it's our vision is just to come up with a system that can do everything for you. Yes, it is also, but then our vision is also be as mobile as possible to help HR personnel. Okay, so a lot of times employees, they are on the go, right? Okay, so how you can keep yourself updated, keep your employees updated when they're on the go, just by using the mobile application. Okay, let's have a look how it will look like. I'm just going to play you a quick video. Okay. All right. Okay. So you have watched the video. So it's just like HR in your pocket. Okay. So everything is on a mobile phone and everything is on the go. So employees, they can access and download payslips on the go. So we can actually put aside of all the manual way of doing payslip. So the very manual way is there are companies still printing out payslip, putting it in an envelope, writing the employee name and give it to them. Or there are also companies that's emailing the payslip to all the employees individually. Okay, but with this, employee can just access and download their payslip anytime, anywhere that they want. Okay, and the second one will be for leave management. Okay, so as you can see, for leave management, employees can just apply the leave from the mobile application. Okay, instead of them filling up a form, going around getting the approval, or the HR going around and finding for the approval to get the approval. Okay, so here the system will actually flow based on your approving process and then give the final answer to the employee whether their leave has been approved or rejected. Okay, and the third one, they can clock in and out of work using facial recognition. Okay, so this is something that's very new. Okay, so instead of employees clocking in and clocking out by punch card, okay, punch card machine or even finger tag machine, the system actually uses an AI facial recognition technology to recognize their face and also to capture their location and also their time so that the employee can clock in and clock out from wherever that they are. And the last one will be for expense claim. So instead of them, driving from, for example, from Puchong all the way to KL to submit a 10 ringgit receipt, okay, which might cost, the petrol might cost more than whatever they are claiming back from the company, right? Okay, so they can just submit all the receipt, the expense claims, everything via the system, and the HR and the finance department will just receive it. Okay, so that is why we call it HR in your pocket. Everything that has to be done is there in your mobile phone. Okay, and then all-in-one HRMS. Okay, so we actually have built a very scalable platform for companies out there. So basically, this particular platform can cater to all your needs. Okay, especially like key functions that you look for in a system, and it will automate all the processes. So for example, for payroll, all the PCB calculation, EPF calculation per case. So all the changes, right, just now that I shared with you, okay, you don't have to do it manually because the moment the government announce it, the system will actually automatically update everything for you. Okay, so that is a very powerful automation that we are talking about. Okay, because instead of you going into the system and do all sort of manual adjustment, no, you just wasting your time. Okay, so the moment government announced that, okay, from January 2021, this is the changes. Okay, January 2021, when you run your payroll, the changes will be there. You don't have to do anything. Okay, so everything is statutory compliance and no waste of time. Okay, and we also tailored everything to your need. For example, you can configure the system to suit your need. Leave application, leave benefits. What kind of benefits are you giving to your employee? You want to configure the leave grades, okay, OT calculation. You can do it yourself. Okay, so all you have to do is just configure it once and the system will run on its own. Okay, so unless you have any changes, then you do the changes in the system. But other than that, it's just once. It's very straightforward. Okay, and because it's on the cloud, okay, we are very feature rich. Okay, so we can actually add on any new features that we want, and the feature is going to be there so that you can use it. Okay, so it's very feature rich and automatically compliant, as I mentioned. So because we are on the cloud, even all the updates and everything will be instant, will be auto, will be immediately there for you. Okay, all right. Okay, so the new normal post-COVID. Okay, so the big question now. So what post-COVID might look like? Okay, so now a lot of you might still be working from home or you have those schedules. Okay, I think like Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, this group of people go back to work. Tuesday, Friday, this group of people go back to work. Okay, but how about post-COVID? Some companies nowadays they are already go back to work as usual. They are no more following all this few schedules and all that. Okay, but how they can make sure that there's no new clusters in the company? They can make sure that everybody is wearing masks in the company, or everybody they are social distancing. They are not touching each other. They don't have high temperature. Okay, so Let me actually show you another video. Okay, so you can just watch this video and then I'll explain to you in a bit.
SafeClock is an all-in-one contactless temperature scanner, door access, and employee attendance solution to help you transition your employees back to the workplace safely. Employees can clock in and out of work daily via facial recognition. The timings and temperatures are automatically captured in a split second and sent to your online portal in real time. The device detects high temperatures and will send administrators an alert via email or push notification if any employee is running a fever. SafeClock can also protect your workplace by acting as a door access. You can configure access based on registered faces, body temperature, and even detection of masks. Unregistered visitors will still have their photo, temperature, and time of entry recorded in your online portal for contact tracing purposes. It is easy to register employees on SafeClock. Simply tag the unregistered user photo to an employee. Employees' clock timing on the device will be reflected in attendance reports to track working hours and overtime. Create multiple shifts easily to manage staggered hours or split shifts. SafeClock is also integrated back to Just Login's full suite of HR applications, allowing you to seamlessly manage employee payroll, leave, attendance, and expenses, even when you work from home.
In Singapore, you can also integrate your work premises safe entry into SafeClock. Automatically check into safe entry when you walk through the door.
Clock in to work safely with SafeClock by Just Login. SafeClock.
All right. Okay, so guess what? We can actually help you to automate that too. Okay, so this particular device, this particular system was actually developed during the COVID-19 situation. Okay, so a lot of companies was wondering, okay, how do I manage this? Okay, because you need to take temperature of your employees. You need to make sure they are wearing a mask. You need to make sure their temperature is below the threshold whereby they are not having a fever, and then clock in, clock out safely. Okay, and minister require all this data. Okay, the ministry. So companies were facing a lot of issues or a lot of troubles to actually get this. So this is when Just Login actually came up with this feature and device called SafeClock. Okay, so it will be an AI facial recognition attendance tracker. So you also have groups that coming in. Okay, so you as a HR, maybe you are not in that group. Okay, so you need to make sure that your employees are in the office. You don't have to wait for the next day to go in, get all the details, because the system is entirely configurable on the cloud. So you can just go into the cloud, go into our platform and get all the data there and then as and when you want. So you will have real-time report of who's in the office, what is their temperature, whether they are having a high fever, whether they are wearing a mask, everything. All the details will be there. Okay, and then we also allow work premise access management. So this one to actually have contactless, whenever anybody come to the company, okay, even can be a visitor or can be your employees, okay, you don't want them to touch your doorknob, you don't want them to touch all the devices and all that. So it will be a contactless. The moment the system recognize the employee, they will actually allow the employee to enter the premises. Okay, it will be integrated to MySejahtera. So it's all about just putting your QR code up in the system. Okay, so you don't, every company have a unique QR code so that it will automatically capture that the employee is in your premises. Okay, and then temperature scanner and detection. So as I mentioned earlier, the system will be able to identify if the employees are having high fever and notify you. So you can actually make sure that they don't enter your premises and they go and get seek for medical attention. So just in case. All right. So this is actually some of the feature in the SafeClock itself. Okay, so our system is not built solely, okay, because HR is a very broad practice. We notice that we can't build everything. So that's when all our integration comes in with our respective partners. Okay, one of the very common thing that people always look for when they're looking for payroll will be accounting. Okay, so we are integrated with Xero, QuickBook Online, and also Oracle NetSuite. And there will be a payment platform like Read, CardUp, and also MatchMove, and then performance management like Synergita, and recruitment like Recruiter Pub. Okay, so all these partners and Just Login will actually give you the full HR suite needs that you need for your company. So we actually integrate with all these partners to make sure that we fill up all the gaps for you. So instead of, just do the payroll and then accounting, then you need to do it manually. Okay, so that's why we have all these respective partners in place. All right. Okay, so this is our modules. Okay, this is all the modules that Just Login is offering. Okay, so we have payroll, all the payroll calculation, contribution, everything we follow statutory requirements. We have Just Leave, where it will be employee leave management platform, Just expense claims management, Just Clock, employee time and attendance system, and Just People, which will be the employee cloud database. Okay, so all of this you have seen in our videos just now. All right, so our platform actually, all our modules is integrated with each other so that you can cross-send data. For example, from leave, you want to send unpaid leave data to payroll. From expense, you want to send in payment data to payroll. You can do that. All right. Okay, so anybody have any question in the Q&A for me? Okay, if there's no question, so we have a quick poll for you. All right, would you be interested in Just Login's HRMS system for Malaysia? You can just vote, and then Ivan will take over from here. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening, and thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you, Patricia, for that wonderful presentation. It was certainly very insightful. So yeah, so please answer the poll. Would you be interested in Just Login's HR solutions for Malaysia? But before we go into a bit of Q&A, I'd like to move on to the next slide. Patricia. Right, yeah. So if you need any more business continuity resources, we have been running these webinars, basically educating businesses on how to adapt their businesses to remote work and everything. We have it all online. You can go and visit them. We have a lot of articles, a lot of webinars, recordings that you can peruse at your convenience if you would like to learn more on adapting your business to basically this digital disruption by COVID-19. So yeah, feel free to use the link above. And moving on, next slide, please. So yeah, please grab a virtual coffee with us. You can scan the QR code or drop us an email, or perhaps talk to Patricia personally through the phone as well to contact us more about our HR solutions if you wish to find out more. We are always available. Just schedule possibly a 10-minute free consultation and we can help with all your questions. All right, so does anybody have any questions for Patricia that you would like answered? Feel free to type in the chat box or the Q&A box and we will help you answer them. If not, then I guess we can end the session. Just like to reiterate that there'll be a feedback form at the end of this webinar. So if you'd like to receive the slides, please help us to fill it up and indicate in the feedback form whether you like to receive the slides, and we will be sure to email them to you after this webinar. Oh, there's one question coming in. What is the integration? Okay, there's a few questions coming in. Patricia, would you like to reappear?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so is it direct upload to the bank or via a portal? Okay, so for this question, there's two ways. You can do it via a portal or via a bank. So for now, we have integrated with 6 different banks, and we are looking into integrating with more banks in Malaysia. Okay, so if you're using one of the 6 banks that we are integrated, then you can directly upload it to the bank. But if you're not using the 6 banks, then it will be via a portal. But rest assured that we are working on to have all the banks in Malaysia in our Just Login platform. So it's just a matter of time before we have all of it. And what's the integration like for payment? So let me see if my colleague Juhani is here. Juhani? She maybe can help me to answer the payment question.
Sorry, Patricia.
Yes.
There's
hi,
a question,
Juhani.
is it? Yeah, sorry,
Yes.
what's the question again? Sorry.
So it will be, what's the integration like for the payment with our partner, like Match Move and all that?
Integration for the, okay. So, wait, let me see. So, Patricia, can we get back on the session after the session itself?
Wow.
All right,
Right,
okay.
all right.
Yeah.
So Mr. Fazri, I'll get back to you on the integration like for the payment question. Okay, so will there be a plan to integrate with international banks such as Maybank Singapore? All right, so Maybank Singapore are already in our platform actually. Yes. So there will be an integration. So we are already in the system. So for integration of international banks, so I have to check that with Juhani also. So maybe we can get back to you on that also for the international bank. Yes, but then be rest assured that Maybank Singapore is already in our system. Yes.
Okay, so thank you, Patricia. Are there any more questions? Any more questions from the floor? If not, feel free to take down the contact details and, to have a personal one-on-one sessions for more in-depth questions. We'll be glad to answer them. Our contact details are being presented right now. So yeah. And if there's no more questions, then I guess we can end this session. Once again, you've been a wonderful audience. So thank you to Patricia for that wonderful presentation, and we hope to see you again. All right. Have a great rest of 2020, and here's to an even better 2021. Okay, bye everyone.